Hi, everyone. I am so excited to welcome Ada. She's 11 years old and she's our guest today. And before we start, though, I want to share some exciting news. Starting next Wednesday at 11 a.m. EST, Taking the Helm is going live. We are moving to Voice America Internet Radio, which broadcasts to more than 140 countries worldwide. And live means you can call in or you can text in, you can email in your questions for us while we're on the air. I'll have guests who are specifically speaking around ours and our family's emotional well-being and some of the wonderful things that's happening in the world today to help us all be proactive and give kids the tools they need before the age of 10, if that's at all possible. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, or on my webpage at lynnmclaughlin.com for the promotional updates and the links to listen. This is the third week in a row and the final one where we're having a young person, someone who knows what they're talking about, who needs to teach us as adults the way we need to be thinking about our own emotional well-being. And Ada is with us today.
Our children deserve to be emotionally healthy as they grow through youth into adulthood. Our mission is empowering children by helping them discover the essential stepping stones to strengthen their emotional well-being. As adults, if we model these behaviors for our children and incorporate them into our own daily lives, imagine the synergy we can create. We're learning strategies from deep breathing, mindfulness practices, and clinically based interventions our children can learn before the age of 10. Join us as we ride the waves to calmer waters with your host, Lynn McLaughlin.
Hi, Ada.
Hi.
Ada is from Essex County, but tell us more about yourself. Ada, what do you want us to know?
My name is Ada. I'm 11 years old. My birthday was a few weeks ago, and I like to play sports, and I like to go outside.
All right, sports and outside, and happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Let me ask you a question about school. Do you have a favorite subject in school?
I do. It's probably
Gym.
Gym or science.
Oh, science. And do you do a lot of outdoor stuff for science? It all depends on the curriculum for the grade level, right?
Yeah.
So what have you learned in science this year that you thought was really cool and interesting?
We did a human body project, and I enjoyed that.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Our body and our mind and our spirit, we're all connected, aren't we? All right. So we are talking about big emotions, Ada, and I understand that you've got this, some great strategies that you use regularly that helps you get through those really, really difficult days. So what kind of big emotions are kids your age feeling today?
Mixed emotions, sad, angry, happy.
And do you find it's more difficult? You're at the age now where, some of that stuff is happening with social, the social pressures to look this way, to feel this way, to do this thing. Do you feel those pressures today?
Yes, I think a lot of people do.
And how do you manage that? What do you do to get through those situations, those times when your mind is saying those things to you?
A lot of times I like to help somebody. Like if I feel comfortable with somebody that I feel comfortable talking to, talk to them, ask them maybe if they have any advice, and talk to somebody.
Oh, and who might those, you don't have to say their names, but who are some of those people that you feel comfortable speaking with?
Probably my mom. Mostly my mom.
All right. Well, I'm going to ask you a question I was planning for later, but my understanding is that you and your mom were speaking pretty openly about feelings and emotions. Am I right?
Yes.
And did that just start, Ada? Do you think that's kind of been part of your relationship for your whole life?
Well, I think that's been just part of our relationship for my whole life, and my brother too.
That's fantastic because, a lot of us adults don't really, we never grew up talking about our feelings. So it's hard for us to start to do that, right? But it's a very, very healthy thing to do. Okay. Do you, Ada, yourself have a way to manage your emotions in a way that keeps you feeling well?
I do quite a few things. Like if I'm feeling certain ways, and I do different things. Like if I'm feeling angry, I usually leave and just calm down, because if you're feeling angry, you might say stuff that you don't mean, or rude things. So I usually like go to my room, usually that's where I go, and I like read a book or I listen to music, something to distract me just for a few minutes so I can calm down.
Are you sure you're only 11 years old? My goodness, you're so wise for so young. All right, I throw you on the spot. I love the fact that you're choosing to live a situation that's making you angry. That means you're aware of the buttons that are being pushed in your body, right? That are making you feel that way. What if it happened on the sports field or at school or at recess? What would you do?
Um, so if something were to happen, like if I was playing sports, like in school, I have there's a basketball team that I was on. It ended last month, but I was on there, I was on the team, and if something were to happen during a game, I would think that you still have to show good sportsmanship and not think about it like at that time and deal with it like at a oh my gosh, sorry, at a different time.
So push on through, you're saying. Push on through.
Mm, yeah, exactly.
How do you hide those
Just yeah.
feelings of anger, or like we know when we're feeling angry, our physically we look different, right? We might get red in the face, we might be more tense. How do you hide that from people if you think you've got to push on through and deal with it later?
If you're like out somewhere, like say at school or on a field or wherever, that you can't just go up to your room and read a book, right? So take some deep breaths, calm yourself down, and get your head in the game.
I love that. I love that you said take deep breaths. That's definitely a strategy because it helps us to calm everything. It takes some practice if we're going to do it right, but I love that. Okay, so let's talk about if you're. I want to throw another big emotion in that a lot of us feel, adults too, not just kids your age. You're worried about something. I don't know. Give us an example. Maybe you're worried about something right now, Ada, or something in the past. What would something kids your age would be worried about right now?
I think probably report cards or how they're doing like in school and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of pressure for that, isn't it? It's coming up to the end of the school year and in a very short time too. You won't get that report card for another 5 or 6 weeks, Ada. So how are you managing that worry for that whole time?
I would think that just say to yourself, "Oh, I'm gonna try my hardest. I'm gonna do my best, and however it turns out, I can always go back, do it a different way, and no matter what, if I try my hardest, that's all that matters."
I love that. So what I hear you saying is you're taking control over what you can take control over now,
Mhm.
which is
Yes.
to do your best. So let's say that report card comes out and you get a grade that you're disappointed with. How do you handle that?
I would think, okay, I have to obviously do something different because I'm either not understanding or I'm doing something wrong. So I need to go from a different angle and just try my best again.
And would you ask for help?
I would from the teachers or my mom if she could help me with like homework and stuff.
And that's really wonderful that you and your mom have a relationship like that. You can come home and tell her, I'm worried about this. And then you've got that open conversation to say, how can I help you? What can I do? It sounds to me like once you get started though, Ada, you're off and running on your own. Mom's just giving you the little push.
Yeah.
So Ada, we've talked about worried and we've talked about angry, but what would you say? Let's just take a big umbrella here. What would you suggest to kids your age? Like, what are some big ticket things that you do to handle those big emotions? And we're talking about frustrated, angry, scared, worried, upset, all of the things that we feel that are sending us messages. Those feelings we have to learn to manage because they're all telling us something. So what would you suggest to kids?
I think there's quite a few things you could do. A lot, like people have different things that they might enjoy more than others. But for me, I like to just take deep breaths, meditate, read. Like, I live on kind of like a farm, and there's a field behind me, like behind my house, and there's a forest. And I like to go out there and just listen and breathe in the fresh air and just relax.
That is wonderful. And some people don't live on a farm, but there's lots of places that we can go outside, even if it's on our front porch. Take your shoes off, It's May. Take your shoes off, put your feet in the ground, take a walk on the grass, just go out and use your five senses. That's what we suggest, right? I heard you saying just now that you used a couple of them. Those five senses, what can you see? What can you smell? What can you hear? What can you touch? What can you taste? Sometimes we don't think about all of those different things that we can take into our bodies that help us calm down. Let's take a short break. This world our children are growing up in is more complex than ever. It's time to start thinking proactively. Meet Zerko, one of the main characters in the Power of Thought children's book series. We're teaching not only emotional vocabulary, but how to recognize how we're feeling and what we're going to do about it. We live on an imaginary planet called Tezra, where every character is named after a crystal. Every book takes children into a situation they can relate to, but teaches problem-solving skills and evidence-based strategies so they can find their way through. This series was developed in collaboration with clinicians, educators, parents, and guardians. And it's the winner of the Mom's Choice Award. Check it out at lynnmclaughlin.com under the Books tab. Now let's get back to our guest. So you're old enough, Ada, that you know all the emotional words. We talked about them earlier. How do you figure out that angry is the way I'm feeling right now, or scared is the way I'm feeling? What signs do you see around you that tell you the emotion in that moment?
So if I'm angry, I can tell that I'm angry with my brother. Then I can tell that I'm getting frustrated. I'm getting hot, I'm getting sweaty, I'm getting frustrated. And my brother's also probably gonna get frustrated. There's energy that I can feel going on that I know when something's happening.
You know what you just said about you realize that your brother is feeling that way too? That is wow, Ada, talk about emotional intelligence. Being aware that someone else has feelings that may be the same as yours or different changes are the way we react and respond sometimes. Seriously, my goodness. So then the next step. So for our listeners, emotional intelligence really has 3 steps to it. Number 1 is, what are those emotional words? And there are a lot of them. It's not just happy, sad, angry, and mad anymore, because kids these days I love the way my niece, Amber Raymond, describes it. She's a social worker. She says it's like a fuse box. And all of these emotions are all coming in at the same time because of what's around our kids 24/7 now. There's information everywhere we go, right? So if that fuse box is exploding all the time, what do we do to manage it?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do to manage it, but some people might like doing different things than I would, or my brother would, or other people would. But for me, when that's happening, my favorite thing is in the summertime, I like going outside and just taking in the fresh air and just taking some time to myself.
So identifying those emotional words, knowing what you talked about earlier, how you're feeling angry because you can feel it physically, you can feel it in your, throughout your whole body. But then the next part is, and you just said it, is what am I going to do about it? Because we can let those big feelings take us over and shut us down, or we can find ways to manage them like you have, Ada. And some of the other ways, a couple of weeks ago, I talked to a young man, 9 years old, who performs Reiki on himself. And you just mentioned energy. He understands about energy. So he's learning to do that for himself. Another young lady who speaks professionally on the stage at the age of 9 talked about all of the things and the strategies that she tries. You mentioned meditation. Some people do yoga. Some people walk. Some people run. Some people listen to music. You've mentioned many of those yourself. And I think what you just said, for everybody who's listening, with adults as well, we have to find a way to calm ourselves. And that's that final step in emotional intelligence, and also realizing how our emotions are affecting other people.
Yeah, I feel like me and my mom have been working on doing that a lot lately.
We're human too. And it's okay, moms, dads, grandpas, grandmas, whoever you are out there, to come home and work and come home from work and do whatever you got to do. I handled something really, really poorly today. I'm really upset about it. I'm going to go for a 10-minute walk and I'll be back. And if you can't walk because you have little kids at home, find a way to calm yourself. But it's okay to say those things. I'm embarrassed. I made a mistake. Because if I say that to you as an adult, what does that say to you, Ada?
If my mom were to come home and she said, "Oh, I'm upset because something didn't go as well as I planned it to go at work today. Because I'm a kid. She's probably not gonna like a lot of adults aren't gonna want to just like open up to their kids because you might think that's weird, but I don't think that's weird. I like talking to my mom or just doing something with me and my mom or babysitting my brother so she can, like you said, go for a 10-minute walk or do something.
That is, oh my gosh, that to me is absolutely incredible. But what you just said, we're human, right? And when kids your age and younger see us as, yeah, we make mistakes, we take chances, we make mistakes, it's okay. Does that not send a message to you that, hey, my mom's human, my dad's human, my brother's human, and we all got to figure this out together?
Mm-hmm.
It makes it more normal. I'm going to ask you one last question, Ada, because I think you're ready for it. But in the next 5 years, as you're heading off, finishing elementary school, moving into secondary school, some of that social stuff is going to come in hard. And it sounds to me like you already know how you're going to manage it. Are you going to be on social media, do you think?
I don't know. There's some things that I might do, and there's some things or use, or there's some things that I might not.
And of course, that's in consultation with your parents, but you're going to be conscious about what you choose to engage in, because you could be on 25 different social media apps. I mean, it's not actually, that's true. There's something new out every single day, right? And we can't let that take over our lives.
Yeah, my mom, a lot of times we have because I'm not allowed to have a phone until I'm in high school, so that by the time I'm in high school, I'm not always on my phone, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then once I get into high school and I start doing sports and stuff, then I have a way to get out with my mom and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom, she does this thing where she'll be like, okay, we're gonna do an electronics free day. We could go for a walk. We could go do whatever you guys want. So we go do something like that, and if I can pick one time, and then I can have 10 minutes on the iPad or on the phone or whatever. Just to maybe text my friend, hey, do you want to play today? Something like that.
I love that, we all see things in different ways, but I think what's happening is you're starting to learn what works for you. You're starting to get to know yourself. And we all know, I hope, and we've all come to the realization, I think, that once we know ourselves, we know what makes us happy. We know what makes us sad. We know the things we're going to be engaging in and the things we're going to be pushing aside. So kudos to you for figuring that out with your family at such a young age. You are going to be off and running. Do you have any idea? And of course, it's going to change. So Ada, when I ask you this question, we know I have kids in their 20s and they're still changing their career paths. One of them. Do you have any idea what you might want to do after high school?
I think I would like to do the graphic design.
Oh.
That's what I think I would like to do once I get into college, but that might change as I get older.
Of course it will. And you might try that in something else, or you might say, oops, my youngest son thought he wanted to be a paleontologist and now he's a teacher. So, very, very different kettles of fish. Oh, it's incredible. And just to close things up, I've had the pleasure of delivering the books that have been published to date on the Power of Thought series to Ada and her family. And I kind of hope that maybe you love the images that we're in there. Our illustrator is right here from Essex County. Her name is Elisa Batten, and we scooped her up just as she was graduating from Kennedy Collegiate.
I did. I love the books. I read them all already.
Appreciate that. Well, Ada, all the best of health and happiness to you. I wish you nothing better than continuing to do what you're doing and learning and keeping grounded and, use your voice. You're using your voice today. You're sharing your strategies with others. And when we all learn to use our voice in ways that make a difference to others, it's a very powerful thing. And I thank you very much for doing this for us today.
Thank you too. I thank you.
How these kids are going to change the future for the world. My goodness. Now, as I said in the intro, we're moving to live on May 17th. That's next week with Voice America Radio. You can find us under the Health and Wellness Network and look at my webpage, lynnmclaughlin.com, for the updates and the listen information. Thank you so much for continuing to follow us as we move into this new venture. Stay healthy and safe, everyone.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring the tips and strategies you and your family can use to be emotionally well. Feel free to head over to lynnmclaughlin.com for a gift. While you're there, check out the resources on the website, including the Power of Thought Children's Book Series. Thank you for joining us as we ride the waves to calmer waters.